And this is one of the best songs ever written to me. I mean,
Yes.
it's a song that never gets old. And playing on this track,
I wrote melodies to the songs and I liked them. And subsequently, we got a songwriting contract with Dick James, who published The Beatles.
Sir Elton John recently shared something that surprised everyone in the music world. The famous singer, known for his hit song Rocket Man, and having sold more than 300 million records around the globe, decided to reveal his 7 favorite musicians of all time. This wasn't just an ordinary list that he casually mentioned in passing. According to various sources, the announcement created significant controversy and upset feelings throughout the entertainment industry. Many famous performers were reportedly angry about not being included on the list, and the response from the music community has been extraordinary. Elton John has built relationships with nearly every important person in the music business throughout his long career. He has worked together with legendary artists, helped discover new talented musicians, and shaped the work of countless performers across multiple generations. When someone with his experience and influence talks about his favorite artist, everyone in the industry listens carefully. However, nobody expected the selections he would make or the reactions they would cause. Even people who have known Elton for many years were shocked by some of his choices. Online music communities and social media platforms filled with passionate debates and arguments about his picks. What made this list even more controversial were the things Elton reportedly said about each musician. People close to the situation claimed that he spoke honestly and directly, without softening his opinions. Some of his professional friendships were damaged by his comments, while other relationships surprisingly became stronger. Each musician on the list, from the 7th position all the way to the top spot, tells us something important about Elton's career and his personal experiences in the music world. Lady Gaga appeared at the 7th position on the list, and people familiar with the situation say their relationship has experienced difficulties recently. According to those who work in the music industry, Elton helped Lady Gaga early in her career and played an important role in making her a superstar. However, reports suggest that after she became extremely famous around the world, she stopped responding to his phone calls. Sources claim that Elton felt like she had used him to advance her career and then abandoned him, even though he thought of her as family. People in the music business said that Elton asked Lady Gaga to perform at one of his charity events in 2022, but she turned down the invitation without giving a reason. Those who were present claimed that Elton appeared hurt and confused by her decision. Someone who helped organize the event said he kept asking why she wouldn't participate, as if he couldn't understand why she was rejecting him. Even with this apparent tension between them, Elton continues to praise Lady Gaga's abilities when speaking to the public. Sources say he describes her as fearless and brilliant, but privately, he feels betrayed by her behavior. People who follow music industry gossip believe that Lady Gaga wanted to create distance between herself and Elton because she didn't want to be viewed as just his student. She wanted to establish her own identity as an artist. A musician who knows both of them said she felt she needed to break away from his influence, but doing so caused Elton deep emotional pain. People who work at record companies say Elton still watches all of Lady Gaga's performances and sends her congratulatory messages, which apparently don't receive responses. Some observers believe he put her on this list because he hopes they can repair their friendship. The difficult relationship between the mentor and student shows that even famous and successful people struggle with feeling forgotten by those they have helped. Eminem took the 6th position on the list, and this choice created significant negative reactions. Sources said that many people in the music community were surprised when Elton publicly defended Eminem against accusations that he had negative attitudes toward gay people in the early 2000s. According to reports, several of Elton's close friends stopped talking to him after he performed together with the rapper at the Grammy Awards ceremony. This decision cost him important personal relationships. People who work in the music industry revealed that Elton received threatening messages from activists who felt he had betrayed them by supporting Eminem. One source claimed that Elton's phone kept ringing constantly with angry calls for several weeks, but he refused to apologize or change his position. Music journalists say this controversy demonstrated Elton's stubborn loyalty once he decides to believe in someone. According to reports, Eminem sends Elton expensive gifts every year to express gratitude for the support he received. Sources say the two exchange text messages regularly and have genuine respect for each other. However, some people in Elton's close circle of friends still haven't forgiven him for that Grammy performance. One person who had known Elton for many years claimed that this moment permanently changed how certain people viewed him. Music historians believe that Elton relates to Eminem's position as an outsider and his rebellious personality. Sources say he admires the rapper's raw honesty and refuses to judge him negatively. This controversial selection proves that Elton values artistic bravery more than public approval. George Michael claimed the fifth position, and sources say this choice carries deep personal meaning and sadness. According to people who knew both musicians well, Elton was completely heartbroken when George died on Christmas Day in 2016. Reports claim that he blamed himself for not being able to save his friend from his personal struggles. People in the music business say he fell into a severe depression for several months after George's death. Sources reveal that Elton and George had a complicated friendship that included many arguments and reconciliations. Witnesses claim they saw the two men have a huge fight at a party in 2011, yelling at each other before George left angrily. One person who attended said it was frightening to watch two legendary musicians argue so intensely, but they always managed to repair their friendship eventually. According to reports, Elton truly tried to resolve George's personal issues, but felt unable to make a real difference. Sources say George would push Elton away during his most difficult times. One musician, who knew both of them, said Elton wanted to fix everything, but George wouldn't allow him to help.
Music journalists say Elton can barely talk about George without becoming tearful. He keeps photographs of them together displayed throughout his home. Record producers claim that Elton once stopped working during a recording session because a particular song reminded him too much of George. The grief has never fully healed, making this ranking extremely emotional and meaningful for Elton. Freddie Mercury received the fourth spot, but their relationship was more complicated than most fans understand. Sources claim that Elton always felt overshadowed by Freddie's incredible ability to command attention on stage and his exceptional vocal range. According to people who work in the music industry, there was an unspoken competition between them throughout the 1970s and 1980s. Music journalists say Elton privately envied Freddie's ability to command massive audiences in stadiums. Reports suggest that the two musicians had a famous encounter backstage in 1977 where things became tense. Witnesses claim they heard Freddie make a critical comment about Elton's elaborate costumes, suggesting he was trying too hard to impress people. Sources claim Elton became furious and didn't speak to Freddie for more than a year afterward. One person who managed tours said the tension between them was real and made everyone around them uncomfortable. Despite this rivalry, Elton deeply respected Freddie's musical talent. Music historians say Elton studied Mercury's singing techniques obsessively, trying to improve his own abilities. However, sources claim he could never quite match Freddie's powerful four-octave vocal range. One vocal coach reportedly told Elton that while he was brilliant, Freddie possessed supernatural talent. John Lennon secured the third position, and this ranking hides a painful memory. Sources claim that Lennon once criticized Elton's songwriting during a radio interview in 1974, calling it overproduced commercial garbage. According to witnesses, Elton heard the interview while it was happening and felt absolutely crushed. People in the music industry say he locked himself in his dressing room and refused to perform that night. The incident haunted him for many years. Sources revealed that Elton worshipped the Beatles and desperately wanted John's approval and respect. However, Lennon apparently saw Elton as part of the mainstream pop music system that he had rejected. One musician who knew both of them claimed John thought Elton had sold out his artistic integrity, and he wasn't afraid to express this opinion publicly. Despite this humiliation, they eventually became friends before Lennon's tragic death in 1980. Reports suggest they connected over their shared struggles with fame and addiction. Sources say John apologized for his harsh comments, but Elton never completely forgot the pain those words caused. One friend claimed that emotional wound never fully healed even after they made peace with each other. According to music historians, Elton learned discipline in songwriting from studying Beatles records obsessively. Sources say he still plays Beatles songs during private moments at home. Record producers claim that Elton's entire approach to creating melodies was shaped by Lennon's influence. This complicated ranking shows how the people we admire most can hurt us most deeply. Bernie Taupin claimed the second spot, and sources say their partnership is much more complicated than the public realizes. According to people in the music industry, Elton and Bernie have had explosive arguments throughout their 50-year collaboration. Reports claim they once didn't speak to each other for an entire year after a massive disagreement about creative direction. Sources say the tension nearly destroyed their legendary partnership permanently. Witnesses claim they saw the two men screaming at each other during a recording session in 1985. One producer said they threw objects across the studio and threatened to never work together again. However, they always reconcile because neither can create the same quality of music with anyone else. Sources say their relationship is like a creative marriage filled with both love and resentment. According to reports, Elton sometimes feels trapped by their partnership. Music journalists claim he once said privately that he was tired of only singing Bernie's words, but couldn't imagine singing anyone else's lyrics. People in the music industry say Bernie also feels frustrated, complaining that Elton doesn't always understand his intended meanings in the lyrics. One musician close to both of them said they need each other, but sometimes resent that need. People who work at record companies reveal that their contract negotiations are always dramatic and emotional. Those who handle publishing rights say both have threatened to end the partnership dozens of times, but never actually follow through. This ranking represents both the most important artistic relationship in Elton's life and his biggest source of creative frustration. David Bowie claimed the #1 spot, and sources say this choice reveals Elton's deepest personal pain. According to people in the music industry, Elton desperately wanted to develop a close friendship with Bowie, but was repeatedly kept at a distance. Reports claim that Bowie found Elton too needy and emotionally draining to spend time with. Witnesses claim they heard Bowie tell someone at a party that Elton tried too hard to be liked, and it was exhausting. This rejection hurt Elton more deeply than any professional criticism he ever received. Sources revealed that Elton invited Bowie to countless social gatherings throughout the 1970s and 1980s, but David rarely attended these events. When he did appear, sources claim he would leave early without much interaction. One person who attended these parties said you could see the disappointment on Elton's face every time David made an excuse to leave. People in the music industry say Elton felt like an annoying fan rather than a fellow music legend who deserved respect. According to reports, Elton owns one of the largest private collections of David Bowie memorabilia in the entire world. Sources claim he has spent millions of dollars at auctions buying Bowie's costumes, artwork, and personal items. Music collectors say this obsessive collecting behavior shows how desperately Elton wanted some form of connection to David. One person who works at an auction house claimed Elton bids on anything related to Bowie, regardless of how expensive it might be.
Despite the apparent rejection, Elton never stopped publicly praising Bowie's genius and talent. Music journalists say Elton calls David the greatest artist of their generation and credits him with changing music forever. However, sources claim Bowie rarely returned these compliments or acknowledged Elton's importance to music. One music critic said it was painful to observe Elton worshiping someone who barely noticed him or his accomplishments. Recording producers revealed that Elton tried multiple times to work together with Bowie on musical projects, but was always politely rejected. Sources say David preferred working with younger, more cutting-edge artists and viewed Elton as too mainstream and commercial. One producer claimed David wanted to collaborate with artists like Iggy Pop and Lou Reed, not someone who performed in Las Vegas. The repeated rejection made Elton question his own artistic credibility for many years. This reveals Sir Elton John's controversial 7 favorite musicians. The list sparked debates throughout the music world and revealed complicated personal relationships behind the glamorous surface of the entertainment industry. Each selection tells a story about friendship, betrayal, admiration, rejection, and the complex emotions that even the most successful artists experience throughout their careers.